إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي وأفوض أمري إلى الله إن الله بصير بالعباد اللهم صل صلاة كاملة وسلم سلاما تاما على سيدنا محمد الذي تنحل به العقد وتنفرج به الكرب وتقضى به الحوائج وتنال به الرغائب وحسن الخواتم ويستسقى الغمام بوجهه الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه في كل لمحة ونفس بعدد كل معلوم لك اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية والمعافاة الدائمة في الدين والدنيا والآخرة توفنا مسلما والحقنا بالصالحين يا حي يا قيوم يا ذا الجلال والإكرام يا قدوس يا سلام اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا وقلبا خاشعا ولسانا ذاكرا وشاكرا وتوبة نصوحا اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع وقلب لا يخشع ودعاء لا يسمع وعمل لا يرفع ونفس لا تشبع يا حي يا قيوم يا ذا الجلال والإكرام يا قدوس يا سلام رب يسر ولا تعسر رب تمم بالخير رب زدني علما وفهما والحقنا بالصالحين لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. My respected brothers and dear sisters and everybody watching us this Sunday evening in Melbourne, welcome to our fiqh class where we have been learning in a series of topics, chapters. Now we are on Book of Purification, the Kitab al-Tahara, and more specifically we have covered many things, and today inshallah ta'ala we want to cover the topic of wiping over leather socks, masah ala al-khuffayn. Last week we could not have a class, we had a glitch, but alhamdulillah we are back on track inshallah. We will continue perhaps until 45 minutes or 50 minutes. Bear with me inshallah ta'ala until we finish the topic. Now, let me get my notes so actually for you can see. Bismillah. Here we go. Wiping over footgear, khuffayn. I want to introduce this topic to you a little bit, and I'll give you the fiqh rulings according to Hanafi school. This topic, actually, we did not have any problems with this topic for centuries, until this century. Until end of last century, and for the last 30-40 years, this has been taken completely into disarray, and people are doing many things wrong in this regard. And I will explain inshallah ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help me to say to you the truth and nothing but the truth inshallah ta'ala. The word khuf means footgear. Khuffayn in Arabic language means two khufs. They are a special type of leather socks. And the masah means to lightly pass the moist hand over the upper surface of the khuffayn. Wiping, passing lightly wetted hand over the top section of the khuffayn. The classical khufs are as seen on the picture behind me. They can be obtained from many mosques, many Muslim markets. They are available in many places, including our mosque, Coburg Mosque. If you were to approach them, inshallah, they can provide for you according to your size. It's usually made out of leather. Mostly it is from cow leather and sometimes sheep leather. There are harder ones and there are softer ones. And the softer ones that you can see, it can be worn with your shoes, like a socks that you normally put. You actually put your socks on and put this on, and you can wear it with an outer shoe. There are some special shoes made for it, or your normal shoes if it fits in. Throughout this talk tonight, inshallah ta'ala, the act of passing the moist, wet hands over the leather socks will be called masah ala al-khuffayn, wiping over the khuffayn. There are types of khuffayn in the world today. It is only permissible to make masah, wipe over the leather socks on such khuffayn or such socks which fulfill the following 4 conditions, 4 requirements. If one of these 4 requirements is missing, in the Sharia you cannot make masah ala al-khuffayn. As simple as this. According to madhahib al-arba'a, 4 schools of thoughts, according to Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, muttafaqun alayh amongst the ulama, that it must contain 4 conditions. Every khuf must have 4 requirements. First, I use the word socks must be strong enough to walk or enable walking in them on roads for 3 Shari'i miles. Even the normal miles will do, without the socks breaking or tearing. It must be strong enough to walk several miles with them without the socks having a hole or breaking, tearing. That's the first condition. The second condition, if the socks not tied on the foreleg must not slip down. Socks kept in position by elastic sewn into the socks material will be regarded as being tied. So it must have its own stiffness or strength to stand, not something that ties. That will not be regarded as a khuf. As you can see in the picture, the right, where are we looking at? Right on top. The mouth, where your poor foot goes in, is strong enough to stand up like a shoe. That's the second condition. Number 3, it must be waterproof. Water must not be able to seep through. I will explain this a bit more further. It is not like you dip it in the water or anything as such for hours. It is when you're wiping with the wet hand over the top of the sock, the leather socks, the water does not seep through, go through, and you can feel the wetness on your foot. And number 4, it must be opaque, must not be transparent or semi-transparent. If any of the 4 conditions are lacking, masah on them, wiping over such material, will not be valid in the Sharia. Khuffayn are usually made out of leather, and sometimes it is also made out of a new material that looks like socks, normal socks, specially designed. It stands on its own stem. It is waterproof. It is strong enough to walk for 3 miles. Conditions: waterproof. You can walk for miles, 3 miles. It can stand on its stem, and it is opaque. It is not transparent. This particular one, I tried to find something that is not putting a plug in for any company, but the first company that came up with this concept was Seal Skins, with a Z at the end, Skins. A company that provided these socks to, I think, the British Army, where you can actually walk in the water. Water does not penetrate. There are 3 layers to it. Doesn't penetrate. And some of our brothers at Coburg Mosque, some young brothers, they put these ones on. They went for walking all the way to Coburg Lake and back, which is more than 3 miles from the mosque. And it is opaque. It is strong enough. It is waterproof. 4 conditions are met. Therefore, the ulama give the fatwa that this is also can be used as to wipe your socks. You wipe your hands over, make masah al-khuffayn. This also, not necessarily this particular model, but this is also available at the Coburg Library, Coburg Mosque shop. I had one with me here. I normally wear these ones, and these are very easy to slip into, and also wear it with your shoes. And very, very helpful during cold days, or you are in a place where it is not easy to make wudu at work. So maybe this is the best possible option. If 4 of these conditions are met, that it must be waterproof, it must stand on its stem, it must be durable enough to walk, and it must be opaque, not transparent. Anything and everything, any material that is made, that normally socks are made, or any other thing made, is permissible. And if they fulfill those 4 conditions, it is permissible to make masah al-khuffayn. Nowadays, the socks that we normally wear, business socks, the normal socks, the sports socks, whatever thin socks, made out of cotton that see through, that not waterproof, and it has to be elastic to hold it onto your feet, etc., which none of them fulfills 4 conditions, cannot be used to make masah on them. You heard me right. According to 4 schools, for the last 1400 years, no Muslim ever took a chance with their wudu. Out of pure laziness, they play Russian roulette with their salat. If one of the fard components, which is your feet, is not washed, or proper rules and regulations of khufs is not applied with those 4 requirements, your wudu is not wudu, and therefore your salat is not salat. May Allah help you. If the people around you saying, it's okay, it's all right, you can make it upon the socks, the normal socks, believe me, I am not telling you from my own self. If you're really interested, detailed study of this particular topic with all the dalils, all the proofs, historically, since the beginning of the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam until our time, I can provide you all the dalils in a PDF format where you can read and study for all across the board, including the people who say that normal socks can be used, their arguments, how they are refuted. This is not a joking matter. Why is not khuffain ala the masah ala al-khuffain is not a joking matter? When I was first learning from Imam Tahawi's Aqidah Tahawiyya, years ago when I was a young man, one of the items that a Muslim must believe in, part of our creed, part of our faith, he said, as Muslims, we wipe over the socks, khuffain, leather socks. And I thought to myself, why would this be part of Iman? Belief in it, that it is compulsory. And if you reject, in other words, reject wiping over the socks, masah al khuffain, you leave Islam. You become a non-Muslim. Excuse me, one is fiqh, the other one is aqidah. Why is this so? Then I went to my teacher. At that time I was maybe 13, 14, and I asked. He explained so beautifully. He said, the evidences, it's all to do with the evidences, it's all to do with the proof. The evidences that prove the existence and permissibility of masah al-khuffain is of mutawatir type of evidence. Mutawatir type of evidence. Not ahad evidence, lone narration, although it could be sahih, but it is mutawatir type. If an evidence is mutawatir type, what does that mean? It means there are so many chains of transmission from various companions who has heard and seen Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam doing khuffain, and some of our ulama say the number goes up to 100 and more hadith. In this regard alone, all sahih, it is impossible to refute and reject that kind of hadith for not being true. Therefore, it is compulsory to believe in such act, and it is regarded as part of our iman to believe that, according to Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, main body of Muslims, wiping over the leather socks is permissible and it is part of our deen. It is not something that we made up or the people have made up afterwards. In the history, there are several materials are used for khuffain. Khuffain is generally known as the leather socks. The leather socks. There was also another type which is jabrawain. Woolen, thick cotton, really hard. People used to use as a footwear, and they used to travel in it. It was so durable. All those conditions are there again. And it is waterproof, and it can stand on its stem, and it is non-transparent. And however, the ahadith regarding this do not fall into mutawatir type. The people who use to justify wiping over the normal socks of today, they say, but the Jabrawain was made out of cotton, made out of wool. So the socks are made of wool today, therefore you can use it. They disregard completely the conditions, 4 conditions of what is required to make masah, wiping over the khuffain. And those Jabrawain do not exist today. But if you made a special shoe, very, mashallah, hard, similar to this one, and you kept it clean, and fulfills those 4 conditions, from any material that fulfills those 4 requirements, then it is permissible to make masah al-khuffain on those. There could be boots, there could be shoes specially made, but why would you go onto such trouble when you have khufs readily available and seal socks or seal skins, waterproof socks already available for your usage? Why would you play games with your wudu? Why would you put yourself into danger by wiping over normal socks based on flimsy, weak dalil? But there are over 80, more than 100 dalils that the companions used to use this particular khufs made out of leather. And even the definition of Jabrawain is inside is woolen, soft, but the outside is covered with leather. Special type of footgear, which is not available today. What is available at our disposal that we can purchase is the leather socks that you can see on the screen, or the sealskins special material socks that the ulama, especially in South Africa, has given fatwa for this one. Assuming that we understood the importance of and the position in the religion of wiping over the footgear, the khuffain, let us go through the actual rulings. So we're not using any other material except the khufs or the sealskins. Therefore, we want to use it and we want to benefit from the khufs in this regard. What do we do and how does it work? For masah al-khuffain to be valid, acceptable, it is essential to put on the khuffain after you have made a complete wudu. In other words, you made and washed your feet, including washing your feet, complete wudu, and you came and dried your feet. You just put your normal cotton socks. Then you put the khufs on, one by one. These black ones. They come in different colors too. They come in white, or the waterproof socks, sealskins, so to speak. You must have wudu to start with. Then you put it on. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. You put both of them on. If you did not make wudu and you put the khufs on, you cannot start using khufs. Your feet has to be washed first. Firstly, a complete wudu has to be made, then only should be khuffain be put on. Now when wudu breaks, you had wudu and you put the khufs on, okay. You put the khufs on at 6 o'clock at night after making a beautiful wudu. Alhamdulillah, you've got wudu. Comes at 8 o'clock, you want to renew your wudu. You need to go to the bathroom to relieve yourself, or something, one of the things that nullified your wudu has taken place. What time? 8 o'clock. So you press a button, imaginary button, starting time, timer, for using the khuf. That 2 hours between 6 and 8 is not counted. So the moment that you press the button is at 8 o'clock, when you broke your wudu first time. You already put your khufs when you had wudu, but after 2 hours passed, your wudu is broken. You press a button, the timer for, if you are muqim, if you are resident, you are not traveling, for 24 hours exactly, until 8 o'clock the following night, you can make masah al-khuffayn when you're making wudu. How? You done full wudu, everything, mashallah, your arms, your face, your arms wiped overhead and followed all the sunnah. When it comes to washing your feet, you don't have to wash your feet because you've got the khufs on. All you do is wet your 3 fingers, just here inside your hand, over the khufs, starting from the tip, the toes, going upwards on the hill, going up like this only once. 3 fingers must be touching, wetting as you go along, wiping over the khuf. And you do the same thing with the other one. So, you do not wash anything. Logically, wudu is supposed to be what? Wash everything. And this is why perhaps, if you please forgive me for saying it, this is one of the most illogical things in Islam. When something becomes dirty, and your feet in particular, which part comes dirty first? Your soul. But in this regard, we're only doing the top. We don't even touch the bottom. You don't wipe the whole thing. Just 3 fingers going upwards like this. If there was people say everything in Islam is logical, this is an area where there is no logic. This is how Rasulullah ﷺ did it. This is wahi based. Yes, this is the sunnah based, and therefore we follow his sunnah, and it's part of our aqidah also to do this. So if you're getting older, if you have a very busy life, at work it is not the always easily clean place to make wudu, this is the best option. Summer or winter, you can wear it anytime you want. From 8 o'clock until the next 8 o'clock, 24 hours. Each time you make wudu, maybe 10 wudus, 20 wudus, how many wudus that you make? After making a complete wash, when it comes to turn to wash your feet, you don't. What you have to do is just wipe it. Ala al-khuffayn. Masah, like when we say masah, on the head, this is the masah over the leather socks. What is the duration of masah al-khuffayn? We already said, if you are muqim, if you are resident, you are not traveling, you are not a musafir, you're a muqim, masah al-khuffayn is valid for a period of 24 hours. However, if you are traveling, you call the musafir, that you travel from your watan asli, where you normally reside, and you went to another township over 90 kilometers away, or 3 farsakh, so to speak, that is 90 kilometers. If you went over that period with the intention of staying less than fortnight, yes, you are regarded as a musafir whilst you're traveling and once you get there. In this case, you can continue making masah al-khuffayn, wiping over the leather socks, for 72 hours, for 3 days, 72 hours precisely. The period of 24 hours or 72 hours will be reckoned from the time wudu breaks, not from the time that the khuffains were put on. Upon expiry of 24 hours, masah al-khuffain will no longer be valid, and you must renew your wudu. And with a fresh wudu, you put your leather socks again, khuffain on again. And if you're traveling, upon the expiry of 72 hours, you are no longer allowed to make masah al-khuffain. You must also renew your wudu, and you must also then put back your khuffain. However, there is another issue here. If you traveling and sometimes you have to walk for hours, you may stay outside and it is freezing cold, then you genuinely fear that if you were to take your hoofs off, you're going to get a frostbite, you're going to become sick, you're going to lose your leg. Yeah? There is genuine fear. The ulama say, you continue put on until you feel safe. That could be 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 10 days even. Provided that you do not become junub. If you require ghusl, sorry, you need to take it off and you need to make ghusl. It is not permissible to make masah on the sides of the khufs or the underneath the khuf. It can only be made on top of the khuf, as I have explained before. With 3 fingers, the full surface area of the 3 fingers must be drawn from the toes to the foreleg, upwards, starting from the toe upwards, not going downwards. What factors the factors which nullify masah al-khuffain? The following acts break the masah which was made on the khuffain. 1. All things which nullify wudu. Removal of the sock. In other words, khuf. When you take it out, I mean, you still you can use it. You've got another 18 hours to go, but you took it off. If you took it off, that masah is gone. However, if you made wudu first time, you put the khufs on, and you did not break a wudu yet, you take it off, and after 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you put it on again, nothing happens. But if you broke your wudu, like in the example that we gave at 8 o'clock, then after 8:30 you took your socks off, your leather socks off, then your masah al-khuffain is finished. You need to repeat your wudu, then put it on. Or number 3, the expiry period of 24 for a resident, 72 hours for the traveler is fulfilled. If only one khuf was removed from the feet, then it is also wajib to remove the other one and wash both feet. If one comes out, it is regarded as both came out. So you need to take both, and you need to make wudu and put them on again. Some of the other basic questions that people ask when it comes to wiping over the leather socks. This actually differs from madhab to madhab. In the Hanafi school, it is not permissible to make masah on a khuf which is torn to the extent that an area of the foot equal to the size of 3 smallest toes is exposed. So there is a hole, and that hole is enough to cover 3 little toes on your foot. If it's smaller than this, it is permissible to continue make masah al khuffayn. However, in other madhahib, in Shafi school, no hole is permissible. Hanbali school the same, and Maliki school the same. Hanafis are the most lenient in this regard. They say it is not possible for a normal person who works all day to have any holes in this leather, and he may not be able to afford it all the time, and therefore permission is given until that 3 little toes are, up to 3 toes is exposed. Anything more than that, you need to buy a new one or fix it, making sure that it fulfills those 4 conditions as before. If the seam of the khuf comes loose, but while walking the foot is not exposed, masah on such khuffayn will be valid. It's loose but did not come down. But if it was loose and came down and exposed your shin, exposed your top of your heel, if your foot is exposed, then you need to take it off and you need to make fresh wudu and put the khufs on again. If a muqim person, a resident person, who has put his khufs at 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock, he lost his wudu, as we gave an example before, then he's got 24 hours until 8 o'clock next day. But during the day, before he reached 8 p.m. the following day, he started on a journey. He went to Sydney, for example, from Melbourne to Sydney. Now automatically becomes a musafir, a traveller. Therefore, his 24-hour state is upgraded to 72 hours. From the moment that he broke his first wudu. Remember that imaginary button that we pressed? It'll be 72 hours. 3 days. The vice versa is also true. When a person was in traveling, musafir, on safar, and he was intending to stay, have the khufs on for 72 hours, but something has happened after 24 hours, he came back to his home. As soon as he reaches his home, his khuffayn has to be taken off because it's no longer valid. He needs to make fresh wudu and put it on again. As I have also told you, if you find jabrawain, that is ordinary socks, made out of wool or cotton but covered in leather, it is permissible to make masah al khuffayn on them also. If for some reason ghusl becomes compulsory, then masah al khuffayn will not be permissible even if the valid period has not yet expired. I've got another 24 hours, man. It doesn't work. The moment that you require ghusl, you went into a state of janaba, yes, for natural reasons, with your wife, intimacy, or otherwise, you had a wet dream of some kind, you need to immediately take them off and make your ghusl. You cannot say, oh, I've got another 24 hours. This also brings the question in, if you want to sleep with your leather socks, you can. But some people use the leather socks during the day for ease of use, and at night they take it off. Yes, of course they can take it off, but in the morning when they get up for Fajr or Tahajjud, when they make the fresh wudu or fresh ghusl for that matter, they can put it on and still apply 24-hour rule as per stated in our previous points. If after you have made masah over your khuffain, accidentally or intentionally you set one foot in a puddle of water and the water enters the khuf, wetting more than half of the foot, then masah will be nullified. Then both khuffain has to be removed and the feet washed. If you're using the waterproof sealskins, I don't think that is a question that applies here, because some of our brothers I've seen, they walked in the river, they walked in the shallow waters, and they came out and they took their sock off, their feet was absolutely dry. Special material. I think we have covered whatever the topics required in this regard. Let me reiterate what I said to you before. If you require detailed study of this topic because you happen to hear or see some people wiping over their normal socks, which is not permissible, which is definitely not permissible, which is absolutely and positively not permissible, you're playing Russian roulette with your salat. Every dalil in our deen, especially fiqh rules, when it comes to ibadat, are based on solid evidence, not some reinterpretation of the modern hardcore mujtahid wannabe who do not follow any school of thought, who make up their own madhab as they go along. The socks, khuffain or jabrawain, when it's translated into English language as socks, it does not mean the normal off-the-shelf, off the supermarket shelf socks. If you need detailed analysis, detailed study of all the proofs, everything on this particular topic, I can email it to you. I can email it through WhatsApp. If you send me a message, say, Ustaz, could you please send me the document? I want to study. I will send it to you immediately, inshallah ta'ala. My telephone number, 0409 134363. That's my WhatsApp number. If you were to send me a message requesting this information, the proofs for Masah al-Khuffain, according to 4 schools, according to mainstream Islam, not some marginalized people, yes, I will provide you with that information for you to study. And if you need further clarifications, I will sit down with you, I will talk to you and explain to you. Because our forum here is limited, and because we're going to cover many topics, we cannot go through detailed study of this particular issue. But it is suffice to say that this is such an important aspect of a Muslim's life, you need to base your practice on a proper foundation, not some flimsy arguments that people use because of their nafs. جزاكم الله خير الجزاء وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت وحدك لا شريك لك نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. Inshallah, we will be taking some time off for our classes until next year, Miladi year, inshallah. Sometime in January, we will send the notifications and we'll continue from this particular point onwards. So this is our last class for the year, and inshallah, we will resume our classes sometime in January, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you a safe time and safe holiday with your children, with your loved ones. May Allah protect your iman, protect your Islam, count you amongst the righteous, count you amongst the muhsineen and muqarrabeen, inshallah. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Al-Fatiha. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.